as a kid, I used to make deals with God, right? Because I felt like I was grown enough to have that conversation with God and to sit down and say, hey, look, let's make a deal. And I would let's make a deal with God, and he'd be my only contestant the whole time. And in my let's make a deal situations, it'd be like really important situations in my life. Dear God, I can't be poor and awkward and nerdy and have pimples. That just doesn't make sense. It's too much. It's too much for my junior high heart to take. So I had clear skin throughout all my teenage years. Good looking out. Dear God, I can't start high school and be like a negative A cup. Like I had nothing, air. I can't do it. I have a big head, I have big legs. I can't not have breasts either. And over the summer, A cups, and then they still kept growing. Dear God, I don't know how I got into this fight with this girl who's a part of this gang, and they say they're gonna beat me up after school. Could you please make sure they don't hit me in my face? And they never showed up to the fight. So I feel like God did his part. I'm going to do mine. So I was a good Christian girl. Like, I didn't drink, I didn't do drugs, I didn't curse, I didn't diddle myself. I didn't know it was an option that I could diddle myself at that time. But I'd like to believe if I knew about it, I wouldn't do it because they said it was a sin. I probably would have. So now I'm in college. And I'm performing. I'm in the church choir, and I'm a dancer. And I had this solo dance routine, and it was really, really good. Not because I felt so, because other people said so. Everybody was coming to congratulate me. And there was like a line of people, and I saw this guy in the back, and he was gorgeous. He was so tall, and he was like just like manly. He had a chest, like a broad chest, not a breast, but a chest. And I was like him, all right? So I'm like, hey, yeah, thanks. Oh, thank you so much. And I'm like trying to get to him or whatever because I have to talk to him and give him an opportunity to tell me how great I am. And so, you know, like we've been in love, right? We've known that moment where you're like, you see that intense connection with somebody and you're like, okay, you know, when you know, you know. And you have that feeling, you know, and you walk up to him. So I walked up to him and I'm like, hey, why are you over there by yourself? And he's like, you were really good tonight. I enjoyed watching you. And I knew, like with every fiber of my being, I knew that me and him would never happen because this motherfucker is crazy as shit, and I need to get the fuck out of here before he kills me. All right? Now, I am from New Orleans, people, so you have to like suspend reality. Thank you. Suspend reality for a second and understand. If you're people from New Orleans, we really do believe in that sixth sense. So I trust my instincts and I go home. So time moves on. I don't really think about it. And I see him 2 months later. And he gets my number. I give him my real number because I don't answer the phone. There wasn't cell phones and whatever. It was the answer machine. And you answered or you didn't. So I made a date with him to go out because it was easier than saying no. And it was easier to say I didn't get the call and, you know, whatever. So the day passed. I don't get a message from him. And it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I got my call. And it wasn't weird because I used to get a call every weekend at 4 o'clock in the morning by my aunt, who was very much so Christian. She was a pastor, and she wanted to make sure I didn't have a dick in my mouth or something. So I answered the call, and I was like, hey, Aunt Carolyn. And there was like silence, right? And it was like silence, and it was like this is what happened. It was like, and I'm like, what? And it was like, you gonna give me the pussy, bitch? Not Aunt Carolyn. And like I was upset, right? Because like this is the South. You don't say you're gonna give me the pussy, bitch. You say, please give me the pussy, bitch, or pardon me, could I have some pussy, please? Or like something along those lines. So clearly I was upset and I hung up. I was like, you have no couth. And I hung up. And I was a little shaken. So the time passed, and the next morning comes, and I get a call at 9 o'clock in the morning. And so, coming fresh off of the giving of the pussy, bitch, I really didn't want to answer the phone. So I get a message on my phone from Ike, my friend, who says, Knecole, pick up the phone. And so I get on the phone, and I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, hey, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to lay low for a while. So it ends up being that Ike is also a friend of this guy, too. And Ike's my friend. And he tells me a story about this guy. This guy's decided that he loves me. He wants to marry me. I'm the one. And he told him that, right? And he's like, this guy's not really stable. In the past, you know, he had killed somebody. I'm like, pause, pack up. How did that happen? And he told me the story. It was kind of self-defense, kind of. Like, he lost his mind a little bit. You know, it was like a bully situation. Who gives a fuck? He's stalking me now. And now he has more on his resume. Now he's a murderer. So there's that. And I have a right to be upset. And he's like, look, just lay low, stay on campus, just chill out for a while until he forgets about you. I'm like, first off, nobody forgets about me. Have you met me? And he's like, that's not the point. Focus. Like, now's not the time for ego. This is the time you want to be forgotten about. I was just making a point, but I get yours. And time passed. I'm a little upset because I don't feel like I deserve to be on house arrest, but whatever. Time passed, and I get a call from him probably 6 weeks later. 6 weeks of being on a campus as a teenager, you can go star crazy. So he gives me a call, and he's like, hey, this is Ike. I'm like, well, duh. Whatever. Tell me what's going on. Can I leave? And he's like, yes, you can leave. You're good. You know, everything's cool. He checked himself into a mental institution. I said, okay, again, pause. Let's back up. How did that happen? Why did he decide at the 6th week he's crazy and not at like 0, the first day that he's crazy? And he's like, well, what happened was he was sleeping one night, and because of all the stuff that happened with the murder, he would wake up and visualize this person that he killed was coming at him again. And so he'd sleepwalk. And so one day he woke up and found himself standing over his wife with a knife, and he was gonna kill her. And then he realized he had to take himself to the hospital. I'm like, oh my fucking God, are you serious? He's like, yeah, her life was in danger. I'm like, fuck her, he's married? I'm like, how am I on house arrest for 6 weeks? First off, how is a stalker not faithful? I just want to know that. And I'm like, I'm so upset. And he's like, again, the wrong point. He's not bothering you anymore. You're free. And I'm salty because he's married and he has kids. So I would have been a step stalker mom. Or stalky. Okay, I want to use the correct terms. So now I'm sitting down, I'm kind of ranting to myself, and I'm like, well, God, I asked for an interesting life, and I asked God when I was a kid for an interesting life. I did, but I didn't ask for this. And I was like, man, maybe I need to be more specific in my terms and ask for a less interesting life and whatever. But then I look back and I'm like, oh, all the things I've experienced in my life has been the most amazing experience ever. So if I had to deal with this one stalker crazy murder, married with a child guy, I think I could take one and just move on with the rest. So I've moved on.